Hi everyone. Today we're going to be talking about aerobic respiration, specifically the third part of aerobic respiration, the electron transport chain. Aerobic respiration can be divided into three segments: glycolysis, the citric acid cycle, and oxidative phosphorylation. The first part takes place in the cytoplasm, the second part takes place in the matrix of the mitochondria of the cell, and the third part, the part that we're going to be focusing on today, takes place in the mitochondrial membrane of the mitochondria. Full electron carriers from the first two parts of aerobic respiration, molecules of NADH and FADH2 that are carrying high-powered electrons generated from glycolysis in the citric acid cycle, are going to flow into the mitochondrial membrane from the matrix of the mitochondria, deposit their electrons, and help form molecules of ATP. And we're going to show you what that looks like with a couple of easy diagrams. But before we begin that, it's important to understand why this is happening. Our bodies need energy, and ATP is the main energy-giving molecule that the body makes. So we're going to be showing you that too. Now first, I'm going to draw you a bit of a diagram to show you what the electron transport chain looks like. So up here on top, and I'll turn the camera in just a bit, we have the intermembrane space. That's what this is. And then here on the bottom we have our mitochondrial membrane. And inside of the mitochondrial membrane are these globular proteins. And this really funky looking protein, which we'll talk about later, but for now, it's important. The only thing that's important to know is that it's called ATP synthase. And here on the bottom is the matrix of the mitochondria. That did not look very good, so I'm going to rewrite it. Okay. So what we have here is our diagram, and you can see that when those full electron carriers come out of the citric acid cycle, they deposit their electrons into the electron transport chain. And those electrons are full of energy, and they're going to start traveling down along the electron transport chain, gradually losing energy until they unite with a hydrogen ion in the matrix with two molecules of oxygen. And the remaining energy from the electrons is going to cause the formation of a very familiar molecule known as H2O. So now that you know about what happens to the electrons, now we can talk about what do the electrons do once they're deposited into the electron transport chain. Well, first you need to know that there's a very small amount of hydrogen ions in the matrix, but there's a very large concentration in the intermembrane space. When electrons are given to the electron transport chain, they provide energy that fuel proton pumps from the matrix to pump more hydrogen ions into the intermembrane space. Per the law of diffusion, when a solute of low concentration is attempting to go into a solution where the same solute is of high concentration, it needs energy. And the electrons provide that energy by fueling the proton pumps. So, what happens after this is that these hydrogen ions, they want to get back into the matrix. They want to go home to where they came from. So they're going to flow along the intermembrane space until they go into ATP synthase, which is open on this end and then allows the hydrogen ions to diffuse through them. As they go through the ATP synthase, though, it begins to cause this particular protein to turn. And on one side of this protein, we have a phosphate group, and on the other side of this protein, we have a molecule, ADP, which is adenosine diphosphate. And as those hydrogen ions are flowing through ATP synthase, causing it to rotate, it brings this phosphate group in contact with the ADP. And that extra phosphate group causes the formation of a molecule of ATP. And this process continues for every electron that is brought into the electron transport chain from the full electron carriers. Why is this important? This is important because of how ATP functions in the body. ATP in and of itself does not give energy. But it's our body breaking down ATP by releasing a phosphate group from ATP, which gives our bodies the energy that it needs. And the total net ATP from one molecule of glucose is 32. So you can only imagine how much ATP is being formed by your body for energy with everything you eat. Isn't that great? This final stage provides our body with the most amount of ATP that it needs. And it's something that we all should be aware of. I hope you've enjoyed this presentation, and have a great day.